You're backstage with hashtag RDM on Radio Random Network. Now, here's the host, hashtag RDM, Russell Devin McLean.
All right, thank you for hitting the play button. You're listening to Backstage with hashtag RDM right here on the Radio Random Network, and I am hashtag RDM, Russell Devin McLean. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have a very special guest. Joining me today will be none other than the legendary Little Anthony of Little Anthony and the Imperials. It was a great conversation. We're talking about the history of rock and roll and his journey and everything that happened back in that time and what he's been up to here lately. And with all that said, guys, I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in today again. And I want to remind you all that Nothing But the Hits Tour featuring Ronnie McDowell and friends will be in Oklahoma this week. And hell, let's pay a few bills. When we come back, we'll talk to Little Anthony. So you subscribed, you're listening. Now enjoy.
Sign up for the newsletter so you never miss an update.
Older women are beautiful lovers.
Don't miss Ronnie McDowell and Friends Nothing But the Hits Tour, Friday, December 4th at 7 p.m. at the Crystal Theater in Okemah, Oklahoma.
Watching girls go
Ken
by.
Mellons.
I'm just an old jukebox
And
jockey
new
standing
country
by
artist and Oklahoma native Amber Hayes with 4 top 40 hits, including Come On.
Step up, show me your moves, come on.
Jeff Bates.
starting with some long, slow kisses.
And a special tribute to the late Johnny Cash by his brother Tommy Cash.
Ring of fire.
Tia Goins and Deborah Allen. Ronnie McDowell and Friends Nothing But the Hits Tour.
Now the king is gone.
To reserve your $15 tickets, visit nothingbutthehits.com. The Nothing But the Hits Tour, Friday, December 4th at 7 p.m. at the Crystal Theater in Okemah, Oklahoma. Nothing but the hits.
Today's episode of Backstage with hashtag RDM is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/backstage. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, or MP3 player. That's audibletrial.com/backstage. All right, y'all, we're back here with Backstage with hashtag RDM right here on the Radio Random Network. And today I have the distinct honor and pleasure of talking with an international treasure. He's an icon of rock and roll and doo-wop. He's also a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This guy has a list of accomplishments, and the success is just it's phenomenal. Today I have the honor and pleasure to talk with none other than Little Anthony from Little Anthony and the Imperials.
What's going down? How you doing? And to you folks out there, how are all y'all? I just got to correct one thing.
Go ahead.
Is that doo-wop thing. We're not in that category. I can tell you why, but it would take a long time. But anyway, it's not doo-wop. It's just R&B.
R&B, period. Hey, I can live with that too, my friend. It's just good.
Yeah,
the music is just good.
That's how they put it in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There was no category for doo-wop. So it's really, most of my body of work is R&B. R&B contemporary.
Yes, indeed. Well, recently, Mr. Anthony, you was on the float for the Coalition to Salute America's Heroes on Veterans Day. Now, you're involved with a lot of stuff on that. What was that like?
That was outstanding. I mean, it was so cool, man. There was thousands of people along Fifth Avenue, and we went, what did the street begin from? I can't remember, 22nd Street all the way up to 59th, somewhere in there. And they had like a gazillion bands, and it was festive, and the people were all on the east side of the street. This is probably an experience that I'll always enjoy, sitting up on that float and waving and knowing that that's all part of what celebrating the Veterans Day is about, and to give homage to all our veterans, Navy, land, Marines, you name it. Air Force, and so it was pretty special.
Awesome. Well, Anthony, what we're going to do is we're going to rewind real quick, and it's something that I want to know. What inspired you to be a singer? Was music something that you was involved with in your household as a child?
Yeah, my mom tells me. In fact, I got a book out that's called "A Little Anthony: My Journey, My Destiny," and in there it talks about when I was 3 years old. My mother began to hear me sing. In fact, she's a singer. I come from a long line of singers, basically on my mother's side, and on my father's side, a lot of musicians. So I was influenced by music from day one. And yeah, she said, I'm 3 years old. She knew that I could hold a note.
That's awesome. That's right. You do have a book that's you just recently released. And with that said, what inspired the book?
No, I don't know. Actually, people tell you, hey, do a book. And I say, I don't do it. I don't, And eventually, in fact, being honest with you, no publishing companies were knocking down my door, So
right.
All of a sudden, a mid-level company came along and through another lady to help me write the book, Arlene Prager. And we decided to do it, and it's just telling my adventures and what I've seen, good, bad, or indifferent, and all the wonderful artists I've met all along the way and befriended, from Red Fox to Eartha Kitt to Ella Fitzgerald to Frankie Lyman to Frankie Lyman's my best friend, by the way. It's Frankie Lyman teenagers.
Right.
And it just goes on and on about that. My experiences during the times in the South, when it was not, it was highly Jim Crow in those days, highly segregated, and what I experienced, and then what I experienced in my own life, my ups, my downs, my triumphs, my failures. In other words, it's a book. It's somewhat of a book of redemption, but it's also a history book, because there's not many of us left. I always tell people when I tell them something about those years, because I've been in the business for 60 years. I got my first paycheck or money when I was 14 years old. So I've been out there a long time. So whenever I speak from experience and knowing that I was there. So
you're the real deal, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we wrote the book, and it's doing pretty good. And I hope it helps people. I mean, maybe it shows them never give up. Never, ever give up. No, you can't. You can't do that. You got to have passion and focus on what you want to do in your life.
Now, you were talking about Frankie Lyman and the teenagers, and I mean, little Anthony and Imperials, but you spoke that you and Frankie was friends. Was there any friendly competition going on back then between you guys?
No. We just two kids. Happened to be, Frankie was a huge star. I was just coming on the scene. But just the fact that I was his friend, and we didn't mix that together. Though we worked together. We actually did a tour together. And I rooted for him, he rooted for me, and that's the way it was.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, you were talking about that time, which was, I guess, around the 60s, and you were actually you actually used to perform at the Apollo. And now the story goes that there was always a dice game backstage, and Marvin Gaye always lost. Can you give us a little insight on that?
Well, no, I think that, it actually wasn't the Apollo. It was the Brooklyn Fox Theater.
Okay.
With Murray Decay. And that's actually where I met him for the first time. I used to hang over at Motown whenever I was in town in Detroit. But I'd actually met him physically there and befriended him, or he befriended me. And, we all did that. I mean, I don't remember actually him doing it, but we all did it. It was just a part of show business in those days.
Yes, indeed. Well, Mr. Anthony, you just released a new song that you did with your good friend, Mr. George Benson, called Electric Together. Can you give us a little insight behind the song?
Well, it's funny. George and I have been friends for years. And he would always tell people he could imitate me better than anybody. And I would say, oh, come on. And so he lived in Pittsburgh, and then he moved to Arizona and Hawaii. And I would run into him all the time. And he said, I'm a secret admirer of yours. And I said, oh, okay. I just thought he was talking to be talking, but it was true. And one day we just said, maybe one of these days we'll sing a song together. And years went by. And Mr. Preston Glass, who's the producer of the album that I'm doing, I came up with an idea for a song called Electric Together. And that's really what it is. When you got two performers who have done very, very well in the business, get together and they sing, a la Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga. You know, it's the same thing.
Yes.
And they bring their expertise together. A lot of good things happen. So we really enjoyed ourselves. It was a lot of fun. The songs were a lot of fun. And I must, because my granddaughter is bugging me to put it on. She's 3 years old. She likes to dance.
Yes, indeed. Now, you spoke about the Lady Gaga and Tony Bennett album, and with that said, I mean, do you keep up with a lot of things that's going on in the current music world today?
Oh, yeah, you have to. I mean, it's my business. If you don't know your business, you're going to be out of business.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I do. I keep up with a lot of it and see what's going on, what the trends are. But it really is a young person's business now, you know. It's a normal thing because you go through eras. And this generation likes their particular type of music that they enjoy. But it's always nice to look to see what they're doing, and you never know. Something might come up, you know, like with George, it came up, you know, and maybe somebody else. But it's just a nice thing. It's just a nice thing. Yeah, it's called Electric Together. It's a single, pre-album, which we hope to come out in the spring of next year.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, you were talking also, I mean, well, you were inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2009 with the likes of Metallica, Jeff Beck, and the late, great Bobby Womack. And with that said, did you ever dream in a million years you would be a Hall of Fame inductee?
No. I mean, if you asked me when I was 14 years old that I'd be where I am at 74, I would have probably been telling you crazy. You know, you don't have that kind of insight. What I did have was a love and a passion for singing, and that was a catalyst to me being successful over all these years. I mean, there's not many artists that have been out here as long as I have. I went through 3 decades. What was it, 4? I stopped counting. 4 decades.
Yeah.
Where I was successful as a recording artist, and then became a performing artist. Now back to being a recording artist.
Yes, indeed.
Great.
Now, last Friday, you got a chance to perform. You did a concert with Miss Darlene Love.
Yeah, that's fun. She's my girlfriend. We've known each other since 1965. We first met, and she was with the Blossoms then, and she did some background recording for a show on TV called Shindig at that time. It was a really huge show called Shindig, and that's how I met her, and so that relationship kind of stayed that way over the years, you know, off and on. And then she had made a statement somewhere, I'm not really sure what. She said, "Oh, I'd love this. I've sung with a lot of people, but I love singing and laughing." We never did that. So one thing led to another, and the record company and my record company, and then my handlers and one thing, and da-da-da-da. And my son is my business manager. And he contacted her manager, and that was it. We said, let's do this. So we did a concert in, where were we? Yeah,
I think it was, were you in, maybe Virginia?
Newport News, Virginia, at the Ferguson Center for the Performing Arts, yeah. So that was really nice. And we combined our bands together, and so it came out really great.
Now, little Anthony, a while ago you said something about Shindig, which I remember the show, going back and looking at archives and stuff. Do you remember the first time that you and the Imperials actually landed on national television?
I'm thinking, yeah. Now, this goes way back, you know.
Yes, sir.
Way back. The very first national show that we did was called, I can't name that tune. No. I forgot what it was called. And it was very popular at that time. And then the second was Dick Clark, American Bandstand, back in 1958.
Wow. And just from then on, you kept on trucking.
Yeah. You know, we did a lot of stuff, man. And you realize, I mean, major things we did. I mean, we were on Ed Sullivan twice. And Kraft Music Hall, and she's so many.
Yes, indeed.
You know, Johnny Carson Show, The Tonight Show, on and on and on. We've been on all of them.
Yes, indeed. I don't want to keep you too much longer, but I want to ask you a couple more things. But first and foremost, one thing I want to know is the first single for the Imperials was "Tears on My Pillow," which is it still plays today. But with that said, do you remember whenever you were presented the song?
I didn't. We didn't want to do it.
Really?
2 songs, and Mr. Golden, George Golden, was a president of N Records and also producer, convinced us that he wanted us to do songs, so we didn't even know it. I actually read it off the paper, the lyrics.
Right.
And the group went back in the little room real quick, and they came up with really is the same song as Earth Angel, the background.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how that was when we went in. Now, something happened. I could tell Mr. Golden's face in the booth. Something special happened while I was singing. And I remember him telling me, "Why don't you sing like you talk?" Because I was trying to be like everybody else,
Right.
And so my voice, that was the beginning of a Little Anthony sound. Whatever that is, I'm not sure to this day, but it became the Little Anthony sound. And it wasn't Little Anthony yet until Alan Freed gave me that nickname. And it's not because of my stature or how tall I am, because I'm 5'8.5". That's not considered little. Legend says that a record promoter came in with the record, and he played it. And he says, "Wow, that girl sure can sing." And the promoter said, "No, that's not a girl. That's a guy."
Wow.
He said, "What's his name?" "It's Anthony Gordine." He says, "He must be awfully little. He didn't just know who didn't see me." He just came on the radio and started saying Little Anthony and the Imperials. Cut me out of the herd.
Yes, indeed. Now, you were talking about Alan Freed, and a lot of controversy surrounds Mr. Alan Freed, but, he was very influential, and he was one of the a major key player in mainstream radio play for a lot of artists. But with that said, what are your thoughts on Mr. Freed?
Well, he took a hit. I liked him very much. All of us did. He was fun to work with and for. He just took a hit. They wanted to make him an example. There were elements in this country that did not like the fact that blacks and whites were coming together in the music. And he was the main dude then, huge. And he was doing movies and all kind of stuff, man. And they didn't like it, and they needed to find a way to get to him. And they just created this thing about it's against the law to pay anybody to do anything, which is silly, because today we all do it. The advertisers, they get paid to put the advertisers. These television stations, they get paid to do that. And but at the time, no one knew what that was, that you actually paid to get a rotation. So he took a hit. He wasn't the only one. There were several people that got away that I will leave nameless, but they did make it an example.
Yes, indeed. Well, Little Anthony, I want to first and foremost thank you so much for joining me here today. Again, it was an honor and a pleasure. I love your music. We love, we love the Imperials. We love that era. I mean, that was you guys were pioneers, man. Y'all paved the way. We got
a lot of Imperials. It's not obviously after 50-something years, people are they're going to pass away or they're sick or whatever happens. No, it's just a name as a brand now. So,
right.
There's 2 guys. There's one original still there, and it's right, but it's just the name Imperials. But please, tell the audience, don't think somehow that's like the same guys.
Right.
No. You won't find that. That's very, very rare.
I hear you. Well, with that said, Mr. Anthony, before I let you go, I have to ask you, what's your secret to longevity, friend?
Grace of God, my friend. Grace of God. That's all it is. That's why in the book it talks about that's why I call the book of redemption. And because I should have been dead twice or more, but here I am talking to you. So
that's awesome.
That's what
That's awesome. Well, with that said, you guys be good to go. Y'all go check out the book, Little Anthony, My Journey, My Destiny. You can find it on Amazon or any major bookstore. It's actually going into a second printing in 2016, from what I understand.
Yeah.
And also, it's probably streaming on iTunes, Amazon Music, any major streaming music network, or hell, you can probably find it anywhere, is Electric Together. It's George Benson and the one and only Little Anthony. Y'all go pick the song up. It's awesome. And Little Anthony, thank you so much for joining me here today, my friend. It was my pleasure.
I enjoyed talking to you.
I enjoyed talking to you too, my friend. And anytime you got anything to promote or anything you need to talk about, or you want to get back on here and talk to us, all you got to do is just let us know, my man. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you later, Anthony. Man, what a great conversation. I can talk to that guy all day. For more information about Little Anthony, you can go to littleanthonyandtheimperials.com. He's also on Facebook and all that good stuff. Be sure and check out the brand new song that him and George Benson has out called Electric Together. One more time, thank you all. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and rate and review us on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. We'll be debuting on Google Play not too long. We got a bunch of updates, a lot of great things that's going to be happening here in 2016. We're going to go out with a bang this year with the show. I got a star-studded lineup that it's going to be on here. Don't forget, December 8th, I'm going to be joined by James Otto. We got Low Cash coming on, Jimmy Fortune. Leroy Van Dyke's going to be back and be talking to Miss Kelly Lang and Exile. So y'all be sure and tell all your friends about Backstage with hashtag RDM right here on the Radio Random Network. Find us on social media. For more information about Radio Random Network, all you have to do is go to www.radiorandomnetwork.com. You can check out all the interviews from the past right there with great artists such as Tanya Tucker, Charlie Daniels, and many, many more. All right, guys, that's it for this week. Be sure and tune in Friday for the Russell and Mudtooth Show, where we'll be talking to Mike Fleming of the Steel Drivers. We'll talk to you next week when I will be joined by Mr. Ronnie McDowell to talk about the Ronnie McDowell and Friends Nothing But the Hits Tour. Take care, God bless, and happy holidays. I'm hashtag RDM Russell Devin McLean. We'll talk to you later.
Tune in every Tuesday at 7:05 p.m. Central Standard Time for a show created for musicians and music lovers alike. Backstage with hashtag RDM. For more information about the hosts, guests, or our other weekly programs, visit RadioRandomNetwork.com.
Thanks for listening